Thank you all for coming today. I'm Captain Chandler with the police department. Behind me I have Chief James Hambrick of the police department and also Chief Jamie Luffman with the Mount Juliet Fire Department. We're here to provide a briefing on today's incident involving the Providence Medical Pavilion that originally started out as a peaceful assembly out front along Crossing Circle, which we have had from some time over the past couple of years at that location, where they are protesting an abortion clinic that is operating inside the Providence Medical Pavilion. Around 7:50 this morning, we received a call that there were individuals inside the facility and refusing to leave the facility. About 22 people, including children, went inside the facility and basically just sat down, and they were not going to leave. Our officers arrived shortly after that time period and asked them to leave, gave multiple different warnings for them to leave. Some did leave, and then they started to pass out papers that said that they were already arrested. So it appears this group showed up today with the intent on being arrested by our department in regards to their protest of the activity taking place at the Providence Medical Pavilion. So what remained inside were 8 adults and 4 children. Our officers gave multiple warnings for them to leave so they would not be charged with a criminal offense, and they refused to leave, and they were all taken into custody. The 8 adults were arrested and charged with trespassing. The 4 children, which are in their early teens, were charged with trespassing as well. They were issued juvenile citations for a future court date. And 4 of those 8 adults were charged with contributing to the delinquency of a minor. And as you know, this is a private facility, a private building with different medical facilities inside that building. And as our department, we have a duty to respond and a duty to protect those people who are inside. We issued a shelter-in-place order for everyone else inside the building due to the activity that was taking place. And we also closed some roadways nearby just to prevent the traffic, as we had different resources out assisting us today. But the 8 adults did go to the Wilson County Jail. They are being booked as we speak for trespassing. 4 of those adults are being charged with contributing to the delinquency, and then 4 juveniles will be charged with trespassing as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Chief Hambrick, who's going to say a few words about today.
Thank you, Captain. First I want to say, give thanks to the support of the Wilson County Sheriff's Department and the Tennessee Highway Patrol for their assistance in this event. Secondly, for our staff and officers about their professionalism and just how everything went and transpired. We want to say that this is not the first time the protesters in this area. Since this facility has opened, people have been allowed to peacefully protest here and have done so. This event was the first time that they have actually went inside the building and refused to leave. Our aim was not to arrest, and we had good dialogue. We're just glad that everything went peaceful and as orderly as it did. But again, I thank my staff and those other agencies for assisting that enabled us to do and carry out what we did effectively. And so I just want to thank also our fire department, Chief Luffman, for their assistance as well. Thank you. Chief Luffman.
Good afternoon. Received notification in my office from Captain Chandler of the event that was taking place. His sit-rep report gave me the number of participants and law enforcement responders that were on the scene. I got with Deputy Chief Joey Edwards of the department, and we began to formulate the necessary needs for emergency medical services and transport. We reached out to Wilson County Emergency Management Agency and Chief Brian Newberry. We were able to secure ample amount of ambulances and transports, redistributing some of our district respond units, staged a little closer. We also had been in contact with some local private units, and they were in the area on standby. We did have members of Tennessee Emergency Management Agency on scene, and felt like that we had calculated the proper emergency medical response and transport needs for this event.
Was anybody transported?
No, sir, no one was transported. Very peaceful event and a very peaceful outcome.
For some people who are saying this is free speech, what would you want to say to them?
For some time now, our department has always allowed for lawful expression of that First Amendment of free speech, protest, and assembly here at the facility. And as long as it remains lawful, then it's okay. But today it moved inside and it got to where it was unlawful. It reached trespassing, and we have a duty to act in those circumstances, and that's why we acted today. Again, when you have groups who show up with the intent to be arrested, we want to ensure that it goes as peaceful as possible. And we had great officers, our crisis negotiation team members on the scene who worked with these individuals and basically got to the point where the arrest was made. There wasn't any force used during the arrest. We didn't have to forcibly remove anyone today. It just reached the level of arrest. They were placed under arrest and they were transported to the Wilson County Jail. Again, all peaceful during those moments of arrest.
You said this has happened before, and even though it was peaceful, will any action be taken just to make sure something like this doesn't happen again if the same group of people do come back? And also, we did speak with a few people who were showing up to go to really urgent and important appointments.
Absolutely.
Are they able to get back inside at any point today? Is that
Sure.
going to happen soon?
Yeah, so the facility is back open now. There are extra patrols now in the area, and we have had plans in place for these protests when they occur, because they do occur frequently on different days throughout the week by different organizations or groups that do show up. Today we had a plan in place if it did move inside as unlawful, and we acted on that plan. That's why we think everything went very smooth, you know. And from the flip side, we are, other than the fact of not leaving the facility leading to trespassing, we're grateful for the cooperation of the group. You know, to that point of arrest, they were peaceful and cooperative inside. It's just they were unlawfully inside and they could not stay there and they would not leave.
Is this a specific group? Are these people from here, or do they come from other counties?
It's not clear exactly where they are from. Our investigative team is still looking into that, and we will know where the folks who were arrested, we'll know where they're from once we get their booking data. But right now we don't have that information if they are from our community, if they are from our state, or if they are from elsewhere.
And if you're charged with trespass, I mean, is this going to continue using resources because there's court time and all that, or is trespass something that can be cleared up without a trial date? You know, tying up a judge and tying up the court system?
Sure. All the judicial proceedings and the prosecution is handled by our district attorney's office. It's up to them. They make those decisions, so I can't give you a clear answer on how the court proceedings or those judicial and prosecution proceedings will take place.
But at the same time, I mean, when I got here, there were at least a couple of dozen officers here.
Sure.
Vehicles, the fire department.
Correct.
In other words, it's a pain in the butt, isn't it?
Well, we're here to ensure that everyone is protected. We're here to ensure the protesters are protected, and we're also here to ensure our community is protected and ensure that people can get to their medical care should they have medical care underway. There's multiple different medical facilities inside this medical pavilion beyond what they were protesting. And it's our duty to ensure that everyone can get in and out safely, and that's why we have to respond. That's why we have to act, and if it gets to arrest, that's why we have to make those arrests today, like we did today. And if it happens again, we'll come out and have a similar response to that. Now, it's very resource intensive. We had about over 25 police officers out here today. There are multiple ambulances out here today, multiple fire engines out today, resources from our state. Tennessee Highway Patrol responded. Resources from the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency responded. So there are multiple different people out here. But again, we all respond to ensure that it ends as peaceful as possible, just as peaceful as possible. We don't want anyone hurt. You know, we don't want anyone injured by any means, and we want to ensure that people can get their medical care that are there to get the medical care that they have appointments for.
Any
plans for extra security moving forward?
We've had plans for extra security. The Providence Medical Pavilion already has extra security on site, and that's who notified us this morning.
Based on what the pamphlets say and talking to a few of them, their goal was to get arrested today.
It appears their goal was to be arrested today.
So did that make it completely different than the last times that you had confrontations with this group?
Sure. What made it different today was the fact that they went inside the building and would not leave. Previous protests have been roadside at Crossing Circle, which have been lawful.